Hey everyone, we're going to do a Coke bottle glass soap today, and it's a fairly simple design. I would consider it a beginner loaf soap. Doesn't get much more beginner than this other than a one color soap or maybe a layered single layer or two layer or something, three layer. It's pretty simple. So I'm letting the text up on the screen right now guide you. It tells you everything you need to know. Hopefully, if I leave anything out, you know where to find me. But I want to take a second and thank everyone who checked in with me and checked in with us to see if we were okay during Hurricane Idalia. Your thoughts, your prayers, your well wishes were so appreciated, and we are also sending out good wishes for those who had worse damage than we did, as we were just fine. Other areas in our county were flooded, but we skirted past that. We were able to just have the anxiety of a possible hurricane hitting us. It didn't hit us directly, so but hopefully everybody is gonna who doesn't have power will get it back soon, and hoping that you can have any damages repaired soon, and everybody's feeling okay as soon as possible. So thanks again. Now let me see if I can catch up with what's being said here and see if there's anything I need to add, because I think it's silly to just read it all. I'm not going to do that. I try not to anyway. But sometimes it helps because it reminds me what's coming up and what might be another side talking point that I wasn't able to put in the text, because it's a lot sometimes. Even the easy soaps. For me, I like to be very thorough with my directions or instructions, and it can be very easy to try to want to say everything, and you can't do that with the text. It's too much, or I can't. You might be able to, but so I'll try to see what I may have left out, or some, anticipate maybe some questions you have. The one thing that I did not mention up in the text is the type of glitter I'm using. I did say sort of the idea glittering mica is sometimes what it's called. This one was oh goodness. It's not. It's from Nurture Soap. Super Sparkles. There, I knew I'd think of it if I gave myself a second. It's Super Sparkles, and the reason I use that one, I use a lot of the glittering micas from Mad Micas, but I have a couple from Nurture Soap because the particle size is a little bigger. So I like to have options like that, just like I'm giving myself options here in the soap with sizes. When I'm doing, this isn't really a crystal soap, but it is very similar to a lot of my crystal soap designs. So what I do in those as well is give myself size options of different crystals that might be forming in the rock, etc. This is supposed to more look like perhaps shattered glass, but the whole idea is to replicate the color of Coke bottle glass. I absolutely love that color. It's about my favorite. I have a couple of pieces of glass art with that color in it, just little small ones, but it's one of my things that I really like. And this is the reason I'm doing it with this specific soap. Is this soap gave me the idea a couple years back. I bought a sample size, the 2-pound size of the aloe vera and olive soap from Wholesale Supplies Plus. And like they say on the website, the color of the soap base varies a little bit, and it varies according to that particular crop of the aloe vera or supply that they get at the time, and it naturally just varies in color a little bit. So the first time I got it, it was a little closer to this color. It wasn't quite as bright of a green, but it was very much looking like a Coke bottle glass. And I was like, ooh, that'd make a really cool soap, and thought one day I'll do that. And sure enough, I did. I bought this, bought a larger block of this specifically because I wanted to try to make something that looked like Coke bottle glass. And I kind of went with the shattered look because it's more of a way to indicate that it's glass rather than a rock or stone. But honestly, you could get away with giving somebody a bar of this and saying, hey, don't you like this aquamarine soap? Or, something else that's similar, because it's very similar to a crystal. Anyway, it is a type of crystalline material. So there you see the base. And, well, it's a little more orange. It looks a little more orange while that stirrer is sitting in it. Keep that in mind, because it really doesn't have the orange twinge, but it is quite yellow. Look how clear it is, though. You see, that's pretty remarkable for a soap that comes kind of off color, for it to hold such clarity. I think they say this is Wholesale Supplies Plus. I think I mentioned that. It states, I think, on their website that it's a 9 out of 10. They rate their soaps clarity from 1 to 10. And I think they say it's a 9 out of 10. And I think the only thing closer, well, let me think about this. The only thing closer to a 10 other than the crystal clear is 10 out of 10. So that's how they're kind of gauging it. That's their clearest ones, as clear as you can get. And I can pretty much testify to that. It's really super clear. The extra clear, I can't remember, but it might be a 9.5 out of 10. I'm not sure. But then this one's a 9 out of 10, which is higher than I think any of the other clear bases. And it really, the clarity is fabulous. It does have a tinge of color, but you can still see right through it. So it, to me, looks like glass. Looks like colored glass. And you see me adding little tiny dabs. I'm being very cautious about the way I add my liquid soap dye, because it's so easy to accidentally get too much. Sometimes those drops can come out either really big, or just 2 drops will come out instead of 1. It's very difficult. So I'd rather put it on something else that I can pull away from the soap if I need to before it drips into it. So that's why you see me putting it on a little stick, or the stir thingy, spatula, stir thingy. That's a technical term, by the way. Another thing I wanted to mention while we were talking here about this soap base. Now, phooey. I totally forgot it. It just left my brain. This is what my brain is like this week. So again, I'm just putting in these crystals, but I can tell you that my technique, the way I like to work it so that I have the best control, is I start with the littler ones, and I leave a little bit. You notice I didn't cram it full. Leave a little I leave a little wiggle room so I can sneak those larger ones in there. And the reason I do that is because if you start with the large ones, they're just going to fall over. The smaller ones and the medium ones give them a little bit of stability to help hold them up. As you are layering anything like that, or adding a large amount of embeds, it is going to very quickly cool your soap, the liquid soap that is in there. That's why I'm moving fast, and that's why I'm pouring this remainder of the soap at 127. Now, for this soap, I believe the melting point is 125. You want to be a little bit above. I might have gone above that if I had, I think anywhere near that can work. I wouldn't maybe take it up as high as 130. That might start melting some of your pieces a little bit. But you want them to be very secure in a soap that has this many embeds. And I do promise you that it does very quickly set up when you're not quick enough to take it out immediately. Just so you know, this is edited. This is edited, and every pause, etc., and slightly sped up. You do want to, one of the things about getting a soap out easily is making sure that it's fully set up. I think I said that in the last video. But this one was a little tricky because I could have just shoved right at the top really hard and gotten it out quickly. But I was really cautious because I didn't want it to land on those top crystals that I ended up cutting off. I wasn't sure whether I wanted stuff sticking up or not. I think had I maybe made a little more of the tall crystals and had more sticking out, it might have looked cool. But with just a few, it kind of, I don't know, bothered me. It wasn't enough. It's like all or nothing. And with the other thing is, if you just have one or two, it's more complicated to wrap. If you have a whole bumpy top with, lots of little things poking up, it's actually a little bit easier, because one that is sticking up particularly high is just, it's going to poke right through. I have done it before, and you can do it, and it is possible. And if you're careful with it and how you ship it, it's fine. I just didn't want to mess with it this time. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to cut them off. It didn't add that much to me. Of course, you can do whatever you want, because it does look cool, and it does look like a big shard of glass sticking up. But I also wanted to bevel them too, and it's really difficult to bevel if you have them sticking up like that. They get in the way. Let's see. Uncle Andy's, that's the cutter for melt and pour. I will stand by that until I no longer stand by that. But I haven't seen any cutter come close to being as good as far as giving you even bars. I have many times, you might have seen me use the double handled cheese knife, those large kind of chef's cheese knives that for cutting cheese are very sharp, and they do a great job of cutting, but they don't do anything for helping keep your lines straight. I mean, that's all up to you, and I'm not that great at it, so I use it when I have to, when I have soaps that will not fit in the loaf cutter. But pretty much, Uncle Andy's does great with loaves. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think, and I'm not good enough to just use the cheese knife for most things. It takes a lot more time and care and measuring and, saying a few prayers and doing a little rain dance or something for me to use that and come out with it looking straight. But Uncle Andy's is just a breeze. So there's my Uncle Andy's rant for the week. These, I think they came out really cool. They definitely got some really interesting responses on my page. People seemed very interested in them. But I think I'm hoping that you see what I see when in watching me make this. It really isn't a hard soap to make. It wasn't hard at all. A couple little not decoration, but little design points. On this one, I wouldn't add too much glitter. Some of my crystal soaps, I'll add a little bit more depending on the look I'm going for. And sometimes I add a variety of glitters, but I just wanted this to look more like shards of glass. So I left it at the one kind of a whitish glitter. It isn't really a true glitter, just so you know. That's why I put in there soap friendly. I'll leave a link, of course, in the description box. Hopefully you can find that. If you can't, let me know. I'll try to either walk you through it or put a link in the comments or something if you can't find it. But I think that look makes it looks a little bit more shattered. That's why I like the bigger little bigger pieces, bigger, what's the word? Larger particle size. That's it. I know I said that earlier, but re-emphasizing it because I was talking about the design. And like I said, pretty much you could take this idea here. This isn't new. And you could do with it pretty much anything you wanted to. You can change the colors. You could, just make it your own design. You could put the whole thing full of crystals if you wanted to. But looking like glass, this is the way to go. Adding, a little bit of liquid dye to balance out the yellow that's there. You're going to have to kind of see what yours looks like if you order this particular base and see it might look different than mine. So you might have to adjust a little differently. That's why I tried not to give very specific measurements of those. I said 1 to 2 drops. I mean, you might need 3. I don't know, because yours might be way more yellow than mine. That's part of learning to be an artist, is look and see what you like. It's a lot of people, soapers and others, get really bogged down by, how do I do that? I want to do that exactly like yours. I want it just like, and you got to learn to, well, you don't have to, but it's really good to learn to trust your own instincts. What do you like? When you're looking at it, that's the nice thing with it. While it's in the bucket, you can see the color it's going to be. It's not going to change when it sets up. In most melt and pour soaps, you get what you see. Cold process soapers have a little bit of a struggle because what theirs will color morph more often than ours. We will have color morphing if you're not careful what fragrance oil you choose. Anything with vanillin is very likely to turn yellow or brown over time. May not happen right away, and sometimes it actually does happen right away too. But over time, that vanillin is going to discolor. And there are a couple other types of ingredients in fragrances that can discolor or cloud the soap a little bit. So use with caution, test all your fragrances. And for a soap like this, that I know I went super clear because I want it to look like glass, I use a tried and true one I know is clear. Now, was talking and bragging about the clarity of this soap base earlier, and I just want to say that, yeah, you can see right through it, and you can see the edges of the crystals, which is why when I put the glitter on, I was really more focusing on the edges, the outlines of those crystals, more than covering the whole thing with glitter. It helps keep the clarity, but it really helps you see where they are. But it's probably not going to have the same kind of clarity if you're making, let's say, a picture soap of some kind, like a landscape or a mermaid or something. Although it might look kind of cool with a mermaid. I don't know. But just keep in mind it might be a little bit different if you're trying to see a picture through it. Just test. You could take, if you get the base, melt it, create yourself a bar with the fragrance, just a single bar, see how it looks. Put it in front of whatever you're thinking of trying it on. You can always, because you've just done it, and you probably don't need to do it about 8 times. If it's successful, you can cut it up and melt it in the rest of the soap that you're planning to make, and then put the embed in. There's many ways to test soaps and figure out and learn what works for you. Like I mentioned with the temperatures, everybody likes a different type of soap base. I really do want something that is easy to melt and doesn't set up quickly on me. And I'm not paid by Wholesale Supplies Plus. I just prefer their soaps for that reason. They're more open time, and the clarity is beyond. I have not found anything quite as clear. But the melting point, again, for me is important. But if you choose to use another base, just learn the melting point of your base. And not everyone by the same company is going to be the same melting point. You have to learn them or mark them. Look it up. Most of the websites will tell you that information. And you usually have to take it a little bit beyond the melting point as far as getting the temperature before it's all melted, but not much. And then it cools. Keep in mind, it cools a little as you add colorants and fragrance and stir that in. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this and got something from it. I'm rambling a little more than usual today, but if you have any questions, please put it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope that you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.